What's going on, Twins fans? Happy Friday, and welcome back to another episode of Twins Latest. I'm Sam Calder. Hope you guys are doing well. We've got a fun episode on tap for today, but before we get too far, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on daily Twins news and updates, as we are less than a month away from opening day. I did see that Royce Lewis was removed from yesterday's game. It sounds like it was a precautionary thing, but obviously far from ideal given his injury past. I'll talk more about that probably on Monday when there's a little bit more info. I don't really know anything as of right now. But with that out of the way, let's get the fun started. The Twins took on the Pirates yesterday, looking to bounce back from a 3-game losing streak. And unfortunately, the streak continues. The Twins fell 6-4 on Thursday, their 4th loss in a row, and they moved to 2-5 this spring. It was a 4-4 tie in the bottom of the 8th, but the Pirates put up 2 and held the Twins in the top of the 9th. But let's take a look at some notable performances from today, both the good and the bad. But I'll start with the bad, that way we can end with the good stuff. It was not a great outing for Simeon Woods Richardson, which is disappointing because he looked really good in his first appearance, in my opinion. He allowed 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, over a pair of innings, allowing 6 hits and striking out 1. He was throwing strikes, but he was catching too much of the zone. He gave up quite a bit of hard contact on his fastball. It was just a lot of meatballs, and the Pirates hit him hard. Now, for what it's worth, it's a good thing that he was throwing strikes. I mean, 26 of his 37 pitches were strikes, a 70% rate, but he only generated 2 swings and misses over the course of the day and just got hit really hard. So not a great day for SWR. It wasn't an exceptional day for Zebby Matthews either. It was a little bit better. He came in after Simeon Woods Richardson and threw 2 innings and a third. He gave up a pair of hits, a pair of walks, an earned run, and 3 strikeouts. He threw 35 of 56 pitches for strikes and generated 9 swings and misses. His command was pretty solid, though. He did miss with his slider a decent amount. He was missing down and away on righties and didn't really throw many strikes with that pitch, but he was attacking guys with fastball. It was clear that was the plan. It wasn't like he was trying to get ahead of guys with the slider, but just something to keep an eye on over the course of the spring. And Matt Wallner had a tough day yesterday, and he's having a really tough spring thus far. He went 0 for 4 with a ground out, a fly out, and 2 pop outs. Neither the ground out or the fly out were hit very hard, and Wallner is hitless thus far in spring and really hasn't made quality contact with anything. But that's it for the negatives. Let's shift over to the good stuff. And a guy we've been talking about constantly this week, in Alan Roden, had yet another good day at the plate yesterday. He went 3 for 4 with a trio of singles, but all of them were hitting 97.6 miles per hour or harder off the bat. He is now hitting 750 this spring and has easily been the strongest performer among Twins. Victor Caratini went 1 for 2 with a walk and a hard hit single, 103.4 miles an hour off the bat. Tristan Gray smoked a double, his second of the spring. He worked the count full and got a center cut fastball, ripped it into center field, over 103 miles an hour off the bat. And we will talk more about Tristan Gray later in the episode. And then John Klein on the pitching side of things threw a good pair of innings, faced 6 batters, got 6 outs, struck out 1, and got 5 whiffs on 24 total pitches. Good to see from Klein, who is a guy I don't really think gets talked about enough. I think he's better than people give him credit for. But a disappointing outcome, obviously, as the slide continues. But the Twins are back at it today against the Yankees this afternoon. They will then take on the Red Sox Saturday and the Braves on Sunday before getting the day off on Monday. But let's pivot from the spring action to our prospect deep dive. And today we are looking at someone we have not talked about at all, pitcher James Ellwanger, or Ellwanger, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Wanger was the Twins' 3rd round pick in the last summer's MLB draft out of Dallas Baptist University. He's a 6'4", 205-pound righty, and he is ranked as the Twins' 20th prospect according to MLB Pipeline. Ellwanger is one of the many young pitchers in minor league baseball where the stuff looks good, he just cannot locate. At Dallas Baptist last year, he finished with a 3.98 ERA, over 63 in the 3rd innings, and 95 strikeouts to 38 walks. Though for what it's worth, his FIP was all the way down at 307, so it's possible his defense didn't help him out much. But he allowed 58 hits on top of the 38 walks, and his whip ended up at a pretty bad 153 mark, which it's pretty concerning that his command was that poor in college. But his BABIP was over 400 last year, which is absurdly high and definitely played a part in why his whip was so high. That BABIP will not repeat. And as I said, the stuff, at least a couple of his pitches, appear to be there. His fastball sits in the mid-90s, and he's ran it up to 99 before. It's a 60-grade pitch. It's got a lot of carry and a lot of arm side run, making it a really, really good primary offering. He's got a curveball in the low 80s, and it sounds like that was his most consistent pitch as far as command goes. Unlike his slider, that was so bad and so unreliable that he started working on a low 90s cutter to actually get rid of that pitch in his arsenal. He also has a mid-80s changeup, but doesn't throw it super often. He's got really the two main pitches that he throws with a couple of secondary options behind them. But both the fastball and the curveball project to be above average offerings at the professional level. But he's going to need to develop another pitch or two if he's going to have a successful long career. He didn't throw any innings last summer after being drafted, so there's not any professional data for me to go off of. But he's going to need to be getting a lot of more innings under his belt before he's anywhere close to being, major league ready. All in all, it's a solid third-round pick. He's definitely a developmental piece, but he's already got 2+ offerings with the fastball and the curve. And if he can get a better feel for the strike zone, Ellwanger could be a really solid pitcher down the road, but that's a big if. So the coaching staff will have to work with him quite a bit before he's at that point. But shifting gears from Ellwanger, it has been a little while since I did a bold prediction, so it feels like this fine Friday is the perfect day for me to do one. My bold prediction today is that star center fielder Byron Buxton will not only stay healthy again in 2026, but he is going to hit 40 home runs this season. He came pretty close last year. He had 35 in 126 games. His batted ball data was some of the best of his career. His average exit velocity, expected slug percentage, barrel, and hard hit rates were all in the 92nd percentile or higher among MLB hitters. Byron Buxton is one of the best pure power hitters in baseball and would have been on track for 40 home runs last year, actually. His 160-game pace was 45, so it's definitely in his range of outcomes to get to that 40 home run mark in 2026. But of course, there is going to be a couple of things that he needs to accomplish in order for him to get to that point. The first thing he's obviously going to need to do is stay healthy over the course of the full season. His 126 games last year was the second most of his career, and he's never appeared in more than 140 games in a season. He's probably going to need at least 140, probably upwards of 150 to get there, unless his power takes another step up, which at this point in his career, I don't see that happening. But he's also going to need to be getting enough plate appearances to give him a realistic chance at 40 home runs. Now, it seems like he's probably going to be hitting leadoff most days. He hit leadoff in every game thus far in spring that he's played in, and he started 93 games last season hitting leadoff. But if he's not hitting leadoff, he's still going to be somewhere in the top 3 of the batting order. The biggest thing for him is just going to be staying healthy, because if he doesn't stay on the field, he will never have a chance. But there's very few players in baseball that have the ability and the capability to hit 40 home runs in a season, and Buxton is one of those guys. If he stays healthy for 140 to 150 games, it would not surprise me one bit if he hit 40+ home runs in 2026. And then, as always, to wrap up the video, we've got our Twins player preview, and today we are looking at infielder Tristan Gray. Gray was acquired from the Red Sox back in late January in exchange for catcher prospect Nate Baez. He's bounced around quite a bit. He spent last year, my goodness, there we go, in the majors with the Rays and at AAA with the White Sox, and then was traded from Tampa to Boston in November. Over 30 games in the majors last year, Gray hit .231 with a .282 on base percentage and 8 extra base hits. It was only 86 total plate appearances, but the underlying data tells a much different story than the surface level numbers do. He wasn't actually eligible for any StatCast metrics due to, the small sample size, but what shows up is really impressive. His expected batting average was up at .257, and he actually hit the ball pretty damn hard overall. His average exit velocity was 91.4 miles an hour, and he had a hard hit rate at 44.3%. His barrel rate was up at 13.1%. So even though it was only 86 plate appearances, Tristan Gray hit the ball very, very hard. My favorite metric for quality of contact is xwOBA. I think that tells the full story more than others. Tristan Gray's mark was at 349 last year, which would have been in the 81st percentile of all major league hitters. I don't expect him to replicate those numbers, and frankly, it's not even a guarantee that he's going to open the year with the Twins, but that's a really strong baseline to go off of. Gray is one of the very few left-handed hitters that does a lot more damage against left-handed pitching. Last season, in a very small 23 plate appearances, he hit 364 against lefties with 4 extra base hits. He's hitting just 163 against righties over the course of his entire career. So he's probably going to wind up being a short-sided platoon option against lefties for the Twins. But the nice part about Gray is that he can play anywhere in the infield. He played 12 games at second base last year, 9 at shortstop, and then 5 at both first base and third base. I think third base and short is where he'll probably spend most of his time this year. I talked in Wednesday's video about the lack of depth on the left side of the infield. So I think Gray would be probably my pick to be the primary backup option for Royce Lewis, assuming he's fine, and then Brooks Lee at short. Some people think Tristan Gray will be DFA'd or start the year at AAA. I am of the opinion that he'll be on the opening day roster. I really like what I see in his data, and he's having a decent spring as of right now. He's got a pair of doubles and some other hard hit balls that were caught. So I think Tristan Gray is going to be a more impactful piece of this Twins team than others might think. But that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys for tuning into Twins Latest. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for daily Twins news and updates. If you've got a Twins-related topic or topics that you want me to talk about in another episode, let me know down below in the comments if you would. But have a great weekend, everyone. And until next time, I'm Sam Calder, and I'm out. Peace.